Thank you very much for standing up. Lovely to be here. Look around. Look around at your colleagues. You have done this together. You are out here standing with your colleagues. This is the first time we've done this in a decade. We don't do it lightly. We didn't choose to do this. But we do this so that we can get a better outcome. Myself, colleagues Tyrone, Emma Field, lots of other people have been in the room for 9 months. Caitlin is about to go and have a baby that wasn't conceived when we started talking to our bosses. This is how long we have been trying, making positive, reasonable requests for real jobs, real progression, and a shift in the global model of ABC's use of insecure work. It's been 20 years since we've done this. You are standing here in the public interest to improve things for yourself, your colleagues, for the broader media, and for the Australian working environment. So thank you. Management has failed here. They have tried to bust the union on multiple times. They've tried to go around, they've tried to belittle, harass, and ignore your representatives. They have treated you horribly. They have tried to weaponise tough economic conditions to grind you down to accept a subpar offer, to accept cuts to your pay and cuts to your conditions. That is a terrible way to treat your employees, to drag this out with the aim of making life harder for you so that you will accept even less and go back even faster. You've said no again, and today we are also saying no again. When they went to put out the first offer, I said to Hugh directly, don't do this. It will fail. This is not good enough. This will delay everything. It will take longer. They put it out. They came back almost 4 months later with no changes. They don't work summer, apparently. I was there. We were ready to talk. Almost 4 months of nothing, almost no meetings. They came back with $1,000 sugar hit that doesn't go to the most vulnerable workers that would need it. That would be improved. If it was a 0.1% pay rise, you would see more over time from that one. They think you can't count. They think you don't count. But we can count, and we do count. And we are showing them that today.
I'd like to protest the ABC
I know who you are. Go away.
for not reporting on Jon Stephens, the in-house serial pedophile. Jon Stephens.
Let's discuss.
Sorry, I know this
In-house
gentleman has
ABC
been
serial
very kind to
pedophile.
this person.
Jon Stephens. Well,
He's not the boss. He's not. These are the workers.
this mob has kept quiet about an in-house serial pedophile named Jon Stephens.
That's not his fault.
Well,
That's the boss.
why don't you say something about it? Why don't you get on the ABC News and say, well, why aren't you reporting about Jon Stephens?
Let's go over here and talk about it.
Thank you. No, I live around the corner. Thanks very much. Thanks for your time. I had a chance, I took it. Jon Stephens was a long-time ABC children's TV show producer who apparently was abusing young boys and the victim in one of the matters apparently approached a royal commission some years ago, and the matter was raised. It went to court. I saw Jon Stephens in the court in Sydney when he was up on a charge relating to an additional child abuse matter. And I was going to go back to Sydney for the follow-up hearing, but Jon Stephens passed away. G'day, Zoe.
This is Zoe.
Bill Thompson for ABC Pedophile Watch.
Okay. This
5
is
years
new to
ago,
me.
Daily Telegraph in Sydney reported that Jon Stephens had pleaded guilty to indecently assaulting a 14-year-old boy while the two were on an ABC location scouting trip in Gosford. Now, I have been asking ABC journos for the last 5 years why ABC News TV News has never reported this issue. And while I do a thing called Outside Insiders, and one day when I was outside the Insider studio, a bloke approached me and said that a colleague of his had been sexually assaulted as a boy by this very same guy. And it turned out that there was a court case in Sydney at the Downing Centre Court in 2019, and I flew up at my own expense to attend, and I saw this guy in the court, this pedophile in the court. Unfortunately, that matter never was finalised because Jon Stephens died in December 2019, and the gentleman's case lapsed, and another case where this fellow was accused of pedophilia lapsed because of that in Queanbeyan. Now, the ABC has not reported any of this over the last 5 years. Now, you were an ABC TV journo for some of the period of the last 5 years, and I may or may not have tweeted you things in the past about Jon Stephens. Maybe you could go back and have a look through your Twitter record to see whether I have,
well,
and I will too.
Okay, but I don't recall. I mean, I would have been in the United States.
I know.
Because I went to the US in 2015, so
yep.
I wouldn't have been focused on any domestic coverage at all.
Okay.
I've never worked in this part of the ABC either, the Central Coast. Because often they're quite local in the way they cover things.
This is a matter that relates to whether ABC News, TV News, has been covering up a serial pedophile within the ABC. They were all over George Pell, as you know, and in fact, I believe they've actually removed Louise Milligan's 7:30 report on it because it was inaccurate, and George Pell got off after the High Court held that they quashed his conviction. So ABC News, in my opinion, has been covering up for a serial pedophile, and in my opinion, ABC News should be stripped of taxpayer funding until they acknowledge that one of their former employees was a serial pedophile, and ABC News is saying nothing about it. I believe who was the earliest victim of Jon Stephens recently received a payout from ABC in relation to the matter, and there was a report by Gerard Henderson that ABC had paid about $100,000 in external legal fees in relation to that. Mm-hmm. So, and the ABC hasn't reported that either.
Okay.
They're absolutely disgraceful, in my opinion.
All right. Well, so thank you for letting me know. As you know, I no longer work for the ABC.
But you have friends. This gentleman used to be with ABC, is that right?
None of us work for the ABC. Look, I appreciate you letting me know.
Yeah.
I'm not sure that it's really, as someone who no longer works for the ABC, that I have much control over it. But I'm now aware of something that I didn't know about.
Yeah,
so thank you for
I've mentioned it to Fran Kelly, and she's done nothing.
Yep.
I've mentioned it to Kerry O'Brien, and he's done nothing.
Yep.
There's obviously, in my opinion, a cover-up going on.
Well,
otherwise,
I wasn't aware of it until you brought it to my attention.
Okay.
If you've tweeted me in the past, I don't recall.
Okay.
But as I say, the period that you're talking about, I wasn't working in Australia, so it wouldn't have been within my remit to report on that. But thank you for letting me know.
Very
That's
quickly,
really all
you were
I
in
can offer.
the States for a while. In 2018, Donald Trump went to NATO and said to them, you better stop buying oil and gas from Russia, and you better start increasing your defence expenditure. Mm-hmm. And they didn't listen to him.
Yeah, look, many things that Donald Trump said have carried weight. I wrote a whole book about that. You can take a look at it.
I'll chase it up.
So I'm not anti-Trump, although there are some negatives about Donald Trump.
Of course.
Not everything that Donald Trump said was a crazy idea.
Okay.
So if you're interested, I wrote a whole book about it, and you might find it quite interesting.
Thank you very much. Now,
thanks for coming along. Thanks for letting me know, and now I'm aware.
You mentioned the Jewish voters in Goldstein. About 13 Israelis have been stabbed or shot to